Hello, everyone. I'm just adjusting the brightness on my screen so that you can see me and I can see you and all that good stuff. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, and I double checked. I am live. So welcome to the Profitability Power Hour. I'm here every Wednesday around 5 p.m. Eastern. I'm a little late today because I got stuck in traffic. If you can imagine, Atlanta traffic is always something that you can't anticipate. But I'm here, and I do plan to share some really delicious content with you this evening. I'm actually going through the top 10 profitability strategies. And last week, I talked about repurposing your content. I gave a lot of tips. I gave a strategy. I shared some resources with you. And this week is no different. I kind of was juggling between whether I talk about increasing your fees, and then I thought, let me give you profitability strategy number 9, which is how to tap into your inner sales coach. How to tap into your inner sales coach. And let me say this about tapping into your inner sales coach. Selling is the bloodline of your business. And I say that clearly because I'm a business and sales coach. But I also want you to know that in order to sell, in order to grow your business, you've got to do some interpersonal transformation work too. That's actually a separate strategy, but I want to just say right up front with great clarity that you must do some interpersonal transformation work in order to sell more, in order to be dedicated and committed to growing your business, in order to stay in what I call consistent action about growing your business, doing the daily, weekly, monthly activities that move your business forward. Personal transformation work has to happen for that to happen. So yes, when I say inner sales coach, I'm talking about understanding what to say at the right time to convert more clients and enroll individual and group coaching clients into your program, services, and products. So today I'm going to give you a little taste of what I mean when I say tap into your inner sales coach. I've been coaching now, you guys know if you've been following me, for almost 16 years. June, in just a couple of months, will be my 16th year. I'll cross over the threshold of 16 years. It seems like forever, but I know that selling can be tough if you don't know what to do. There's signals you want to pay attention to. There's a certain way that you speak to your clients when you're in that conversion dialogue, in that sales conversation. So I'm going to touch on some of that today with you. If you're just joining me, I see people are swinging by. If you're just joining me, remember to share the video so that we can get more people paying attention, watching what I'm doing, and learning what I'm sharing in this Profitability Power Hour. Remember, today I'm talking about how to tap into your inner sales coach. So let me jump in with some content that I want to share. The first thing I kind of gave a disclaimer about, but I want to hit it home today. You have to have the right mindset to really step into selling. If you're serious and committed to sell more, you've got to have a particular mindset. I'm actually hosting a 7-day challenge right now. It's a 7-day sales challenge. You can find out more about that 7-day sales challenge at supersizeyourselling.com. It's a no-cost opportunity, and I believe in really helping you through the process. If you've done one of my signature challenges before, you know that I give you a lot of support. I give you lots of tools and resources. And in this particular challenge, I actually keep the momentum going. And at the end of the challenge, if you go through every one of the 7 days, you'll be able to access my master class that's also on selling, and it'll help you kind of wrap everything you learned during the challenge up in a nice little bow and keep the momentum going. So one of the things I do in the sales challenge is I give you an opportunity to assess the skills that you must have if you're a sales leader with the right mindset. My signature presentation is the mindset of a sales leader, because when you have the mindset of a sales leader, it says a lot about what you're able to accomplish, because it speaks to what you're committed to in the way of selling. It means that you understand that you've got to have a certain way with your clients that is about being authentic. It's about showing compassion. It's also about you listening to what the client has going on, and you understand what program, service, or product you have that's the answer to the problem the client is facing, the client is presenting to you in that sales conversation. So you've got to have the mindset of a sales leader. That's really foundational when it comes to selling and selling success. So Supersize Your Selling, again, is a 7-day challenge. I'm going to touch a little bit of it today, but mostly what I want to do is tell you some of the things that you must have to tap into your inner sales coach. Someone asked me, and I'll share this with you. I talk about it all the time. In 2016, I went to a coaching conference and I met Dr. Marshall Goldsmith. And one of the first things he asked me was, do you have a problem with self-promotion? I was like, absolutely not. He said, well, you're always going to be okay because you don't have a problem with that. That's part of that mindset, because when you understand, and I talk about this in the challenge, when you understand that there's someone out there that really needs you and what you have to offer and what you're selling, just to be very clear and direct, when you understand that, then you don't shy away from putting yourself in the marketplace and having those conversations, those sales conversations with people, because you know that you're on a mission. You have a responsibility to serve them and support them. And the way you do that is by selling. Okay. So the mindset, the inner work has to be in place for you to step into selling. The other thing I want to say about selling is, and I've used the words a couple of times as I've been talking so far, when you are committed and dedicated to sales goals, when you are committed and dedicated to that client, when you're committed and dedicated to your craft, selling becomes part of what you do. And I believe in transformational selling. Not transactional selling. Selling is about transformation, not about transactions. Oftentimes, people don't like sales because they view that transaction piece of it as the sales conversation. The sales conversation starts long before you get into the asking for the credit card or asking for the money or extending the invitation. That's the transaction piece. That's going to happen, yes, but that is not the sales conversation. Believe it or not, the sales conversation begins the minute you meet someone, you connect and make a connection, and then you begin to build rapport with that person. That truly is when the sales conversation begins. So if you think about what that means when you're networking with someone, when you strike up a conversation and you're interested in what the potential client has to say, as soon as you make that connection, that's when the sales conversation begins. That's totally when the sales conversation begins. Again, the transaction is going to start later. That's going to happen. But the most important part is the transformation, and it begins when you connect. Okay. So the third thing I want to talk to you about related to tapping into your inner sales coach is understanding your ideal client really, really well. This is part of almost everything I do, because to me, it is the single most important thing you've got to be plugged into, tuned into, really be aware of if you're ever going to sell with great success. You've got to know your ideal client intimately well. That's how I say it. You've got to understand what her fears are. You've got to understand what's keeping her up at night. Then you know exactly what solution you have to offer her to solve that problem. Whatever that problem is, whatever she's going through, whatever those symptoms and stuff are that are happening, you understand the root cause of her challenge, of her problem, and you know the solution that you have that's the answer to that problem. You understand that, but you've got to know the client, your most ideal client, intimately well in order to know that answer, in order to be able to present the right opportunity to the client. I talk to clients all day long and they're like, so what do I need to offer the client? Well, you need to know the client. So I send them back to square one and I say, go find out about your client. Get clear about your client. Know what your client's problems are. Understand the symptoms of her problem. Know exactly what's happening with the client. And when you know exactly what's happening with the client, then you can say, okay, These are the pieces in my solution. These are the pieces in my program. This is what I know she needs at this point in time. And you know what to offer her when you're in that transaction piece of it. You know the offer because you know it's the answer. And you can customize it if you need to. That's the beauty of you being an entrepreneur. Everything doesn't have to be cookie cutter. Everything doesn't have to be cookie cutter. Because we're coaches, because we're consultants, because we're speakers, we get to design and collaborate with the client to design the solution based on what we know we can offer and based on what the client truly needs in that sales conversation. Okay. So I talked about the mindset. I talked about transformation versus transaction. I talked about ideal client clarity being a real big part of that. I also want to make sure you understand that knowing your ideal client means that you truly believe with every fiber of your being that your ideal client is always ready, willing, and able to invest in themselves by hiring you. Let me say it again. When you know your ideal client really, really well, it means you know your ideal client is always ready, willing, and able to invest in themselves by hiring you. They're not concerned about the money. They're not concerned about whatever the other objections are that surface. Okay. They know when they see you and there's a bond created through rapport. They know you're listening. The rapport deepens. They know they can trust you. The rapport is even greater. And based on that, the client will always be ready, willing, and able to invest. Okay. Your language when it comes to supporting your client is crucial. It's crucial. When you know your most ideal client really, really well, then your language matches that client. Your language speaks to that client. Your language appeals to your client and makes selling easy, makes conversion easier as well. Okay. And I'm going to say this last thing about your inner sales coach. When you are in that transactional space, you've got to know, first of all, when to make that shift into the transactional space of the sales conversation. But when you're in that transactional space, it also means you can communicate the process, all the steps coming up to really hold the space for the client in a way that says, I know this is important to you, and because it's something new and different and maybe a little even uncertain, I can walk you through this process. Let me tell you what's going to happen next. This is what's going to happen after that, and you know exactly what to expect as we move forward in this relationship. Every single time you walk the client through that with a clear understanding, that's about compassion, that's about caring, that's about holding the space for the client, and it makes conversion a lot easier. It's not a good thing after the transaction if the client comes back and changes his or her mind. That means you haven't been clear in explaining the process. Okay. Tapping into your inner sales coach is a really big profitability booster, because when you do, then you get all of the bells and whistles and you know exactly what to say and you know how to build rapport, and it's natural. It's not something that you've put on as a facade. It's not something you step into that, you know, is like flipping a switch. It really is you. It's an extension of you. Selling is an extension of you when you do what I call authentic selling. Tapping into your inner coach allows you to step into being an authentic selling leader, sales leader. I hope this has been really helpful for you. Right now, I said again, I'm running a no cost. That means you don't have to pay for it. Sales challenge. It's 7 days. It started on the 19th and it goes through the 8th of April. So anytime between now and then you can begin it. It's no cost. You get a lot of support. And then once you complete the 7-day challenge, sales challenge, I'm going to offer you a master class, which again, that's no cost as well to keep the momentum going. So you can find out more details about that at supersizeyourselling.com, supersizeyourselling.com. I'm here every Wednesday. I'm Wendy Y. Bailey, known as your Income Acceleration Mentor. I'm a business and sales coach, 16-year veteran in the coaching business, and I'm a beast at helping my clients grow their bottom line. The Profitability Power Hour is where I come on once a week and I share content with you and guide you and direct you into areas that are going to help you to grow. Sales. I'm focused on profitability strategies. I've got 8 more to go. I've identified 10. I've given you 2. Last week, you can watch me on YouTube. Wendy Y. Bailey is my YouTube, Wendy Y. Bailey. I'm that across all of my social media, by the way. But you can watch last week where I talked about repurposing as a means to grow your profits and how you can do that, how you can expand to multiple streams of income by repurposing. This week, I've been talking about tapping into your inner sales coach. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to share the video so that others will watch and benefit from the content I'm sharing. I'll see you next week with another profitability strategy. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.